Hey everybody, Chris here. It is Saturday night here in the Philippines, the end of day 4, and I'm obviously wiped out. Today we took a trip into the main city of Manila, which is about an hour to an hour and a half, depending on traffic, away from here, and had a great time in the city. But before we headed out this morning to go on that trip, I was actually introduced to another little bit of local culture here, which was incredible. One of the VAs that I'm working with here, her son had a pageant. It was actually the United Nations pageant with the school. So all of the kids from all of the grades got a specific country and then dressed up as essentially people from that country. And so it was really neat. We showed up and the band was playing, and it was all like the grade 7s and grade 8s playing, and they were really, really good. They had, all the big drums, the little drums, and they had like choreography to the whole thing. And so we were in this kind of like basketball arena that was outdoors but covered, and it was just packed. I mean, packed. Kids running around everywhere, parents running around everywhere. Just to me, it was just mayhem, but it was actually pretty well organized. And they actually played a Justin Bieber song. Now, I didn't know that. I was told it was a Justin Bieber song. But they were really, really good. So that's the way that it started. And then they were going around the auditorium, and all of the grades were seated on different grandstands, and they would call out a different country's name, and the kids that were dressed up as that country would stand up, and then they had like a little thing that they would say. And so, they called out Mongolia, and all the kids stood up, and they had all the funny hats on, with the garments, and they called out Japan, and all the kids in the kimonos stood up, and then they call out United States, and all these kids stand up, and they're all dressed like little business people in like suits and ties, and I laughed really loud, and a bunch of people turned around and looked at me, but I thought it was hilarious that, the world image of a typical North American, and Canada was included in that. When they call out Canada, it was just a bunch of kids that stood up and looked like they were businessmen. I just thought it was interesting that here on the other side of the world, we're really viewed as that type of a banker slash business person society. I was expecting hockey players and Eskimos when they called out Canada, but we get business people. So that was kind of an interesting cultural thing that I got to see. Sorry, again, I'm tired. So then from that excellent experience with all the kids in the school, we hopped on my first Jeep ride. And when I say Jeep, it's not a traditional Jeep like we think of. When the Americans came over and liberated the Filipinos from the Japanese, they brought over all kinds of equipment that got left here afterwards. And so these Jeeps have been just modified to really fit the culture. So they've all been cut, stretched out, and they can seat essentially 14 people on the back. It's like a bed of a truck with a cap over the top of it, and then 2 rows of seats on either side. So we hop on this Jeep at a bus station to head to the main bus station, where we took a big air-conditioned 54-seater into Manila to start the day. But on this Jeep ride, I was sitting across from a guy who was coming from the local marketplace, and he had 2 bags of groceries that were sitting between his feet, and they didn't really stand out to me at first, and we're kind of riding along, and all of a sudden I hear this really weird sound, like this, like whap 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 whap. I'm like looking around and trying to figure out where the sound's coming from, and then I look right across at me, and the bag of groceries that he has is like flapping. And I look down, and he's got a grocery bag with fish in it, but not like we get. They're live fish just stuffed into this grocery bag. I mean, talk about fresh fish ending up at your dinner table. So I'd never seen anything like that, so that was pretty interesting. I thought I'd share that. Um, so that was pretty funky, and I was trying to talk to the guy, and he says it's pretty regular. Once a week, he'll come down and he'll get enough fresh fish to last him the entire week, which is pretty cool. So from there, we hopped on an air-conditioned bus, went into Manila, and into absolute mayhem that is Saturday at the market slash mall in Manila. So We get there, fighting our way through all kinds of crazy traffic, get into the main core of the city, hop out of the bus, and immediately the white guy is mobbed by all kinds of people selling all kinds of, to me, really interesting stuff. All kinds of different foods, fake watches, um, puppy dogs. There were people selling puppy dogs on the side of the road, which I was able to get a picture of because I bought a camera today. Um, I didn't buy the camera that I wanted because I figured that the electronics here were going to be pretty crazy cheap because I am right beside China, so I figured that all of these really nice Canon and Nikon cameras, the big ones with like the interchangeable lenses, I was finally going to be able to get one of those. Turns out that China and the relationship between them and the Philippines, they have a really, really high tax rate on electronics coming into the Philippines so that the Philippines can't essentially start exporting China's goods and start making profit from it. So when I looked at what it was going to cost me to buy that camera on eBay and what it was going to cost me to buy it in the Philippines, it was actually more expensive here in the Philippines than it would be for me to wait until I get back to Canada and buy it, which was, to me, shocking. So I just bought, it's a nice little handheld camera, and I think it cost me maybe $85 or $90 to buy this camera. But it's something that I can shoot video with, and I can get some pictures of some of the things that I'm seeing. So as of tomorrow, I'm going to be including photos with my actual blog post, which I'm looking forward to. So got the camera, picked up all kinds of really neat little souvenirs for everybody once I get back to Canada, and had lunch at a restaurant that was eerily similar to the old spaghetti factory. It was just really nice to spend time with. I went with 3 of the virtual assistants that I'm down here with, and we got to spend a day not talking about work at all, but just simply, enjoying the culture and enjoying the company. And we're a lot closer now, which is really cool. So there was some other really interesting stuff that happened to me today, but I'm just a little bit too wiped to remember it all, and I'm still kind of a little bit spun from the entire experience of getting there, getting back, and dealing with the entire thing. So any details that I've missed, I'll fill in on the actual blog post when I write it out. But I just wanted to, say, hey, Mom, I'm still alive, I'm still here, and everything is all good. I'm having a fantastic time. So thanks for watching. Hope everybody is well. I hope the big party on Friday night with everybody at home went really, really well. And I'll talk to you soon. Peace.